Hello everyone, it's your brother in Christ, Diamond Dustification from YouTube again, and today's going to be a special kind of video, and it may or may not pertain to Pastor Tim's most recent testimony challenge video, depending upon the length of it. I probably will go over 10 minutes, but yeah. This is going to be directed at you parents out there, and I'm going to try my best to explain what I'm about to say, but it's very difficult for me to put into words. Most of you know my testimony that I am a converted Satanist, and I was under attack the moment from a very young age. Okay, that's when the dreams started. That's when the it all started when I was young, and that's why I'm making this video today. There are many Christians out there that seem to think that there's nothing wrong with allowing their child to wantonly watch secular movies, whether they be Disney, Nickelodeon, Pixar, or Lady Gaga, all this secular nonsense. And if you confront them on that, they'll say, "Oh, it's just a movie. You're being over serious." If you're one of those individuals, I want you to understand that I don't have anything against you, but that is a very, very unspiritual outlook that you have, and it's quite frankly, it's very stupid. There's only two types of people in this world. There are unsaved and saved individuals. And the unsaved, every single one of them, whether they know it or not, have the spirit of Antichrist at work within them. And that is why no matter what kind of thing that you watch, no matter what you're watching, virtually every single movie I've ever seen has some sort of satanic influence and imagery within it, if it is made by people that have no belief in God and will confess as much. If you look into it, you will find it. Now, some people will think it's nitpicking. But when I was young, as most of you know, I didn't have very many friends in school. I would come home, I would go straight to the computer and start listening to music, secular music. It didn't matter what the lyrics were, but most of the time it would pertain, as most of you know by now, violence and stuff like that. Most of the music is very violent nowadays. And my head would be filled with this idea that I would go back to school and I would have some sort of power. Sometimes I would be like literally demonic, and I would attack the children there. Now, for a long time when I was younger, I would be overcome by some sort of good spirit that would come to the school in my thoughts here and beaten back that way. But eventually, as I continued to wax worse, that stopped happening. And I started becoming more and more satanic and being led to those things. And what was leading me to that was all the crap that I was consuming. Now, I had a good home life. I really did. Most of you know that my parents were were very good people. They tried their best to raise me. But there were spiritual influences going on that they didn't know how to handle, and they didn't respect enough. They may have known it was going on, but they simply didn't grasp the scope of it until it was too late. But God got me through it. So I'm going to show you some of the things out there today that you parents need to be aware of what's going on in Hollywood. And we're going to start with a Swedish tunnel opening, and I don't think I even need to say anything. Now, this was a ceremony that many, 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 many people attended, especially Hollywood elites, as you can see here. All of them in their business suits and their fancy glasses and everything else. And just look at the imagery. At a tunnel opening, no less. This weird, satanic imagery. This looks to me like they're mocking the crown of thorns. They've got nudity. At one point, an eye shows up, the all-seeing eye in the shape of a pyramid. They have a whole bunch of eyes that stack together in the shape of a pyramid on a projecting screen. They're worshiping a fallen angel that comes down here and screeches at the people. They're eating it up, as is the rest of the crowd and the actors themselves. They're floating around with nudity. And then finally, this man with a goat head shows up and picks a bride, of which some are male, and does this all over her. And this goes on for hours. And this is a public event. This isn't some hidden event at a grove somewhere. This used to be the kind of stuff you'd see at a cult. This is open for anybody to come watch at a ceremony for a public opening of a tunnel, a simple tunnel. Nothing complicated about it. There's more than 600 actors in this thing. And then if you go over to the old cartoons back in 2012 and probably older than that, look at pyramid symbol and look at the title of this video. And if you scroll through here, the ruler of Hollywood shows up, and it's the devil. The devil. You go to watch these music videos that are common with millions of views, and they're mocking Christ. Upside down crosses. The things they do backstage is ridiculous. And this is the Diablo game that I told you guys about, that I used to play when I was younger. Look at this. Yellow eyes. Remember the eyes I saw when I was younger, but before all of this really amped up? What color they were? I'll give you one guess. Yellow. And this is just some of the things that you can find. Lady Gaga claims to be a Christian, yet she goes on stage and says she hates the truth. Who's the truth? Jesus Christ. Okay. Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. So if she's saying that she hates the truth, she's saying that she hates Jesus Christ. Brothers and sisters, the Bible tells us, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. For he that is not against us is on our part. In Philippians 4:8, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, pure, lovely, of good report, if there be any virtue or any praise, think on these things. Brothers and sisters, my family, I understand how difficult it is to raise a child, and it's not possible to shield them from everything. You can go overzealous with that and make them want to rebel if you smother them. That's very true. But I want you to keep in mind that you need to treat your children with some form of respect. You have to be willing to talk to them about these kind of things and try to get them to understand what God's love really means. Sit them down and talk to them about it every now and again, especially at a young age. Pastor Tim's doing it. And if there's any parents that are subscribed to me with young children, I want you to be aware of what's really going on, because the images I showed you just there are commonplace out in the world today. You won't find any difficulty hearing the satanic influence in anybody from Hollywood, no matter how kind of a person they present themselves as on camera. Now, there might be a few exceptions out there, God willing, but it's not enough to stop the flood of filth that comes from that place. And it's not just Hollywood, it's everywhere, okay? It's everywhere. It's even in your churches if they're preaching a false gospel. They're starting to introduce Wiccan Christians now. You have to be careful. Your children are vulnerable to these kind of things. I certainly was. I had that dream when I was just a little boy, before I even started really understanding what school was all about. I had that satanic dream where a demonic voice told me everything was going to be okay, and it wormed its way into my life, got me a taste for vengeance, and just trained me up in the ways of evil. And I had to, and still am, crawling out of that muck, because God is my teacher now. My parents are wonderful people, but they didn't understand what was going on spiritually. God had to step in himself and has to be my father. He's not just my father, but he is my father. Do you understand? He is my parent as well. He had to show me what is good and what is right. And he had to give me a love for what is right. And he continues to do so. But it doesn't have to be this way for everyone. You have an opportunity to grow up in the right way, and you will still struggle if you do. But you will be stronger. You won't have to go through that same level of darkness that I did, and I implore you parents to please teach your children about God. Don't just give them the basics. Tell them who God was and what he went through and how much he loves them. I know it's hard, but please do it. Please. They need you. They don't just need you to be there for them when they're hurt and got a scrape, or when they're being bullied in school. They need you there for them spiritually. God is going to be there for them, and he will protect them. But he wants to see us facilitate that as well. It's a responsibility being a parent. It's very difficult. I don't know what it's like because, as you know, I'm celibate. I don't have any children. But I do know what I went through when I was young. My childhood was robbed of me by Satan because at a very young age, it started to be the only thing I thought about was spiritual things. And even to this day, it's still true. You know, I've said this before, but when I walk out in the field or when I go for a walk, my mind is so distant that I don't even see my own surroundings, and I can't enjoy the things that I used to enjoy anymore. There's very little to enjoy in this world now anyway, but the point still stands. I lost sight. God has turned that for good because now I'm focusing more and more upon Him each day. And since I'm so spiritual, all of my time is spent with God and thinking about Jesus Christ. But there's still that tug. I know that, the fleshly tug, but I just want you parents to be aware of what's going on out there. I could sit here for 2, 3, 4, 5, even 8 hours and show you the influences that is going on in the secular world. We are in a war. Okay? There's no downtime. Don't tell me that these things don't matter. That it's just a movie. It's not. Satan is projecting his poison into your children. It filled me with anger and hate and revenge when I was younger, when I watched those kind of videos and played those kind of games. Because my answer to every problem was violence. It didn't have to be physical violence. It was psychological too. Instead of responding in love. And I had to be weaned off that. Like someone that was abused for 20 years. I had to go to God's center and be suckered back to even be remotely resemble what a human is supposed to resemble. But then again, who knows? Is that what we resemble anymore, the wider world? I hesitate to say it. We don't want to resemble humanity. We want to resemble Christ. That's what I'm trying to say. God bless, brothers and sisters. I just wanted to make this short video. I may or may not get around to making that Timothy video. For those of you that are waiting for it, it's ready. It's all here. You can see that. Okay? I've even got another testimony coming. All right? God bless. I'll see you soon. Amen and amen.